Hi and welcome to episode 66 of Aico TV. I'm Rory and I'm here at Aico on work experience.
And I'm Craig Swift, Relationship Manager for Birmingham. And in this episode, we'll be listening to Dan Little, Regional Director for the Midlands, speaking to Margaret Fitzsimons of the EDA. We'll get the lowdown on everything in the world of EDA, what they're up to, and a bit of the history behind them.
We're here today in London at Rotherwick House to meet with the CEO, Margaret, to talk about EDATA and all things digitalisation. Let's go and have a look.
Hi, I'm Margaret Fitzsimons. I'm the CEO of the EDA. The EDA is almost 110 years old. It was founded in 1914, just before the war. It's never been as large as it is today. 75% of the UK wholesale market is represented by the EDA, and we're growing strongly. Every year we get more members to join us. The EDA used to be called the EWF, the Electrical Wholesalers Federation. And it operated under that name for many, many years. But actually, as the industry started to concentrate and companies were acquired by the major players in the sector, the EDA, the EWF as it was, found itself struggling for members. It was getting smaller and smaller. So in 1999, it rebranded itself the EDA and it invited manufacturers to join as affiliated members of the association. So that takes us really to the association we have today, which has 259 members, wholesalers, and over 100 manufacturers, and it makes it a very strong association. The purpose of the EDA is and always will be to support electrical wholesale businesses. And our job, we see, is to scan the horizon to see what are the big opportunities out there and the threats coming, and what we can do to help wholesale businesses take advantage of these or prepare themselves to fight against some of the threats. Like all trade associations, it is not our role to get involved in the commercial aspects of business. It is the other types of activities that occupy us. And I would like to, if I can, show you, this is the front page of our yearbook. And on that yearbook, you see this chain. And this chain we use it an awful lot on all of our materials because it absolutely represents what the electrical wholesaler is all about and what the EDA is all about. The wholesaler is the essential link in the supply chain between the manufacturer of products at one end and the contractors and electricians who install them at the other. The EDA, as an association, is a link between the associations for those manufacturers and the associations for those contractors. And the chain, up until I would say a number of years ago, symbolized the flow of goods, of products from the manufacturer through to the contractor. But actually, today, that chain symbolizes an awful lot more because selling a product alone is not enough. You've got to sell lots of other services and value-added elements with it. So for us today, that chain symbolizes the flow of expertise, and we have a whole array of activities around building expertise in the sector and educating our members. But it also symbolizes the flow of product data. Because a product is no longer a physical thing, it has to have its digital information to run along with it. We have 259 individual companies who are members of the EDA. And we break them down within the EDA into what we call EDA groups, and there are 8 of those. So we have 3 of the big national chains. We've got Edmondson Electrical, Rexel UK, and City Electrical Factors as the 3 major groups operating in the UK. We also have the Stern businesses. And then after that, we have about 240 individual companies, electrical wholesalers, who, in order to be able to compete with the major chains, have formed or have joined buying groups, and we have 4 buying groups in the EDA: ANU, AWEB, FEIGIM and the IBA. And together that accounts for about 1,900 branches. And I think it's important to tell you how fragmented it all is, because 55% of those 259 companies are only one branch companies. And then a further 30% are between 2 and 5 branches. So that just shows you how terribly fragmented our market is and how it's quite a challenge to communicate. And we really do have to try and communicate at branch level. What we've done to help us combat this is we have a board, and a very active and supportive board it is too, with one member for each of those 8 groups that I just mentioned to you a minute ago. And they are our conduit to the market, so they get our messages down to their organisations, and it is from them principally that we hear about concerns in the market, and they can be discussed at board level. And we also have a group of ambassadors for training ambassadors, and they feed back to us information from the market on training issues. We have a group related to data, an EDATA steering group, and we also have working groups. We also have a group that was formed relatively recently, and indeed Aico is a member of that, called the Affiliated Manufacturers Insight Group. And that enables us to hear what are the key concerns of the manufacturers who are members of the EDA as well. All of that has led us to create a strategy around 4 pillars of activity. So we have one pillar which is very much what the EDA is known for. That's the traditional bringing people together for our events, for networking, for visibility amongst other members, allowing people to have forums at which they can speak, discuss business issues. So we call that pillar our business community pillar. The second pillar is education and training, and that is a very, very strong pillar for us. It has, I suppose you can break it into apprenticeships, and we run a large number of apprenticeships, including apprenticeships now relating to digitalisation, and they can be taken up by manufacturers and wholesalers. We also run classroom projects, and then we have our very, very well-known and well-respected programme on product knowledge training. And we've won awards for that. We've been doing that for a number of years now, and we've now recently digitalised a programme that was predominantly book-based. So training is very active, very important for us. And then we have another pillar. I'm going to do digitalisation last. We have another pillar called Industry Insight, and that is where we scan the horizon for our members. We pick out the issues that we think are going to have an impact on them. We try to distill them, curate them, make them simple for our members to understand, because actually nobody has time to read long documents, and they just need to get to the key information that's going to have an impact on them. We call that pillar Industry Insight. We also do surveys quarterly, and we provide economic forecasts quarterly. And then the last pillar of activity I'm going to mention is digitalisation. And it's one that's taking up an awful lot of resource at the EDA at the moment, but we're all very, very passionate about it and enjoy it very much, because it's growing so fast, moving so fast, and gaining such traction. I joined the EDA in 2014. A fantastic date to join. It was our 100th anniversary. And that's a moment when you actually start to take stock. You think, gosh, we've been here 100 years. Will we be here in another 100 years? And we looked around to see what would make sure that we were here. What do we have to do to make sure that the wholesaler is still the essential link in the supply chain? And coming at us from every angle was the need to digitalise and to help the businesses to digitalise. Consumer behaviour was changing, or I shouldn't say, yeah, our customer behaviour was changing. We were seeing new technologies evolving around us. We were seeing Amazon entering our market. We were seeing some manufacturers starting to play with going online, some wholesalers opening web shops. We thought, what are we going to do to help with this? So we, the board, felt that it was the role of the EDA to help facilitate digitalization of the sector, in particular to help with the evolution of e-commerce. So the decision was taken in 2015 really to start down this route. And as a small company, we felt that we had to focus in on one particular part of that, and we decided that product data was where we could add real value to try and help the industry to standardize the way that product information was created, stored, managed, shared, and this could really help the flow of industry through the sector, increase efficiency, reduce errors, and bring very many benefits to the sector because it could be used in so many ways. So that was a target we set ourselves, and we started out in 2017 by joining an organisation called ETIM International. ETIM International is a standardisation body for product data. So manufacturers will be very familiar with the concept of standardisation. They'll all be members of organisations that are discussing how they standardise their products. Well, this organisation standardises the product data that goes with those products. So the EDA joined ETIM International to try and bring the ETIM standard to the UK, and we started to, everybody thought it was a marvellous idea. And so we started work initially with manufacturers to explain to them what ETIM was, to see how ready they were to get involved, and to actually start helping them create this ETIM data. And off we went, and we had many visits, many presentations, and the manufacturers started to work on this. But the problem was the wholesalers weren't asking for this information. So we realized that we couldn't actually see what the manufacturers were doing. They were all working in their own little containers, if you like. So in 2019, we took the decision that the industry needed an industry data pool. And if it didn't have an industry data pool, it would be very difficult for us to achieve that target we had set ourselves of helping the industry to digitalize. In 2020, we launched an industry data pool called EDATA. And it was marvellous to have, to hit, we knew we had to hit a critical mass very quickly or it wouldn't fly. And we needed the support of some key manufacturers. And we got 15 industry leaders to join us as founder members of this initiative. Delighted to say that Aico was one of those, and we also had 10 wholesalers who were founders of this initiative and who committed to fund it and be part of it for 3 years while we built it and got it to a size that would make it an absolutely must-have and must-use for the wholesalers. So once we had our founder members, off we went to try and recruit other manufacturers. Now I'm very happy to say that today we have 77 manufacturers who have signed up to deliver their data to EDATA. And over those years, since 2020, we have been working and constantly improving this platform to create a one spot where the whole industry can go, if you're a manufacturer, to deliver your data, and if you're a wholesaler, to draw your data from. And we've actually had to work very hard to get the wholesaler to lift their heads from their daily business and take a look at this and see how it can save them time. We all know that problem of being very, very busy and not realizing that there is actually a solution to your problem that can save you a lot of time. So we're working very hard today to break down the barriers to wholesaler adoption of EDATA, and we're having quite considerable success with that. We offer the data to the wholesaler in several ways. One of the simplest ways, easiest to understand, is as a product data sheet. I personally have downloaded EDATA onto my phone, and if I want to look up some product information, I can do that in seconds and print off the most a very, very well designed comprehensive data sheet which draws live data from EDATA. But also, and I think very importantly for our wholesaler members, is from that central data pool they can go and withdraw data in many formats, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, a CSV file, I'm trying to think of other ways. We have APIs now that draw the data out, or as a BME CAT file, all these technical terms, but guys working in this world know what I mean when I'm saying those things. And there's another breakthrough, a recent breakthrough, which we will shortly be sharing with the market, and that is that the wholesaler will, in the next few months, not even have to go to leave the system that they're currently working on, their ERP system, to go to EDATA to get the data. We're actually going to be integrating EDATA into their ERP systems, and this is a major breakthrough, actually. As I say, we'll be showing that, we'll be launching that on the market very shortly. We realise that manufacturers are spending an awful lot of money creating BIM models that are used in construction design software. So the very clever people at ETAM International have come up with this amazing concept called ETAM MC, very pragmatic solution to some of the work that manufacturers have to do and can save an awful lot of money. So the concept is that a unique shape, a unique object library is created. So what that means is they take the basic shape of a typical product and they leave it in a very raw form, and then each manufacturer fills in their own dimensions in a data sheet as normal, and then those dimensions are applied to this generic model, and it is redrawn, reappears using those dimensions. That means that the manufacturer doesn't have to go and create a model for every individual item and every individual size, and this can save a fortune. So this is a project that's just kicking off in Europe, and the EDA is keeping a watching brief on this. We're in as observers at the moment. We can also get involved in working groups, etc., but I think it's one to watch for the future. We are really proud of where we are today with EDATA. We still have a long road ahead of us, but today we have 220,000 products, SKUs, on EDATA. And one of the most important guiding principles of EDATA is that the product information in there must be of the highest quality. So our head of digitalization, Richard Appleton, has done a fantastic job of creating standards for data. So we have gold, silver and bronze status for the product information that we hold in that data pool. And I'm very happy to say that out of those 250,000 products, 150,000 of them are at what we call gold standard. And I think I'm right in saying it's about 35 manufacturers have achieved that gold standard for their data. Of course, it means that there are plenty more manufacturers who've got work to do. It also means that the gold standard today will not be gold standard in a year or two's time. We've constantly got to raise the bar and make sure that the data we hold is to the highest standard, is up to date as well. That's very, very important, that it is kept fresh and accurate. It started life concentrating on 3 different data types: the manufacturer's master data, images and digital attachments, and then the ETAM technical data. And so that's what we've been working on and measuring that. We also measure the GTIN code. We think that's very important as an identifier, enabling us to link with other systems. It's a good identifier to use. But currently Richard Appleton is working on a new compartment of data, if you like, and that's sustainability data. My goodness, that is a very, very big topic. It's not a matter of finding 20 sustainability attributes and just popping them into the system. It's actually a major industry initiative. So we have brought together people from across the sector. So we've got people from the lighting industry, the electrical contracting world, manufacturers, wholesalers, cable manufacturers, all together to work out what are the key sustainability features that we should be holding and measuring and making available in EDATA, because the market is asking for that more and more. We have been involved in discussions about the golden thread of information. We have worked with Dame Judith Hackett to help us spread the word of the importance of high quality standardized data that is interoperable and can be used across the sector. And the big, I'd say, challenge facing the industry now, and we think EDATA can be a part of solving the challenge, is identifying products from cradle to grave. It's all very well being able to identify them at one point in the chain, but you've got to be able to identify them at every point in the chain. So that golden thread is of key importance. I understand that Aico has done quite a lot of work on that, and they're ahead of the posse on that, but we'll be trying to help our members work towards that goal. So what do I see as the future for EDATA? Well, it's quite difficult to predict because new opportunities arise almost every week. We know that we've got to stick to the knitting, and we've got to increase the number of SKUs we have in there. We've got to fill the gaps of manufacturers that we don't have in there and encourage them to join us. We've got to make sure that we change the behavior of the wholesalers so that they are using the data from EDATA. After that, we're also moving forward in other directions as well, such as developing that sustainability data I mentioned about, improving the quality of the data within EDATA and raising those standards. Gold, silver and bronze will be higher than they are today. We're also looking into the wider industry and working out where can this wonderfully classified high quality data also be used, because while our primary goal is to serve the wholesaler, there will be contractors who might want to use this. There'll be software companies who will want to use it. There'll be specification organizations who want to use this data. We'll also be looking at potentially adding BIM modeling classes to EDATA in the future, enabling manufacturers to create 3D models much more economically, using the dimensions and attaching them to the Uniform Object Library. I guess the industry is also calling out for unique identification, not just at the SKU level, but at the unique item level as it is manufactured. And that is a very big challenge, I guess, for manufacturers. It's really good to see that Aico is ahead of the posse there and has attached this unique identification opportunity to every single product that it manufactures. And I think other manufacturers are working on that as well. But that is something that the industry is really calling for, and we've seen Dame Judith Hackett talk about that, and we've seen the Building Safety Act wanting that approach. So there's an awful lot of work to be done. Again, I think it falls to the manufacturers to do it, but EDATA will be there supporting that all the way. One aspect of the project that has become much more important than we ever imagined was the need for education around data. And Richard Appleton started out by creating white papers. So we now have a suite of 5 white papers which they act as guidelines for any manufacturer embarking on a data journey. These have proved to be very successful. So then we took them off the page and we put them into the classroom, and we organised a series of training courses called Going for Gold, or workshops, Going for Gold workshops. And we bring manufacturers together for a day. We explain to them about EDATA, best way to create data, tips and tricks, and then we talk to them individually about their own needs. These have been really successful, and I know that any manufacturer who has attended those is enormously grateful for having had the opportunity to attend. But we also recognised that many companies in our sector simply do not have data skills in their business, and that was a big concern for us. So we were very delighted when we found that there were some apprenticeships available to help upskill the sector, funded by government, and we are now working with an organisation called Multiverse, a training provider, which specialises in apprenticeships related to data. The lowest level of that is a level 3 apprenticeship called data literacy. And I'm very happy to say that after a campaign all through the summer of 2023, where we tried to make our members aware of this, and it was something that we pushed towards our wholesalers and our manufacturers, we now have 35 apprentices studying data-related apprenticeships, all funded by the government or by the company's own levy. It's a great use of the levy. Some of those are at level 3, which is data literacy, and then at the other end we have about 7 people, I think, studying a level 6, and they will be data scientists. And then we have another group in the middle, maybe 15 to 20 people, who are studying level 4 data apprenticeships. So this, I think, is the beginning of really bringing skills into our businesses. If you wanted to go out and hire a data analyst or a data expert, you would spend an awful lot of money. And by the way, you'd find it very hard to find them. So growing your own is a fantastic way forward, and we're very proud to have brought that into the industry.
I just want to say thank you to Margaret and all her colleagues at the EDA. It's been very insightful learning about all the great work that they're up to and their plans for the future.
Thank you for watching Aico TV.
Please remember to like, share, subscribe on all our social media platforms. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next month.